Good morning. The search for David Sweat is still very much active. In fact, just up the road from here a few moments ago, we were stopped by several authorities who requested to see our IDs and search the inside of our news van. John, things instantly changed here. We saw numerous law enforcement vehicles flying past us with sirens wailing and lights flashing. You knew something big was happening.
We're seeing the troopers in back of you wearing heavy raincoats. What's it been like over the last couple of days?
John, I wish I had my raincoat. It is pouring here. It is dark. It is windy. It is cold, unusually cold for June. I'm sure these weather conditions have not been easy for law enforcement. It is also, there's low visibility, and all of the woods here, they are so dense and thick, it's hard to see just a few feet in front of you. Good evening, Jeff. Cuomo says unlike natural disasters and other unavoidable emergencies, the situation here in Hoosick Falls with chemicals contaminating the drinking water should have been completely preventable. Although it's typically administered by EMS responders and hospital staff, officials say naloxone can be used by people with minimal training. And according to the governor's initiative, pharmacists will be able to provide that training when dispensing to customers. At this time last year, the Colony salt shed was nearly empty. Each year under state contract, Cunningham says the DPW is required to purchase a minimum order of nearly 8,000 tons of salt. Up until this point, they've only bought 5,000 and they've only used about half. Type Hoosick Falls, New York into any search engine and the results are frightening.
Pollution, PFOA, cancer.
Now try spinning that to a potential home buyer.
And it's unfortunate because it really is a nice little town. I've lived here for 19 years. My daughter went to school here.
Months before the water contamination crisis, Kathy Lingener and her husband made the decision to sell their home.
It was on the market for $144,500. It was kind of high. It's kind of high for the area. So, in October I dropped it to $139,000.
According to a real estate company in the village, the average home value in Hoosick Falls is about $125,000. But since testing came back positive for PFOA in the water supply, Lingener says she's had to drop even lower.
My current selling price today is $99,000, hoping that somebody will come and pick up a bargain.
She's not alone in that wishful thinking. Dozens of homeowners are now finding themselves trapped.
There's a young lady that has moved out of the area and has a very nice home that's in the village that a year ago would have sold instantly.
But even if a buyer is still interested, they'll have a tough time closing. Two local banks, Trustco and Bank of Bennington, stopped offering mortgage and refinancing loans on any village homes.
They're worried about what is the property value going to be in 6 months.
Cue Department of Financial Services. The state agency sent a mobile command unit to Hoosick Falls for 2 days to answer residents' questions and concerns for the future.
They shouldn't, worry that this is the end of the world. Again, there are being steps taken to rectify the situation.
Their response didn't appear to impress residents.
Don't come here to just kind of calm us down. I wanted to know some kind of facts, and I thought that maybe the state was going to come in and do something a little bit more for the people who are stuck here.
Though DFS staff said repeatedly that there are steps being taken to immediately rectify the situation, frustrated residents like Lingener aren't buying it.
I don't know if anybody else knows how to use the internet, but I've researched Superfund sites, and if you go and you actually click on the Superfund sites, you can see some of them have been open for 10, 12 years. It's not something that's going to come in and be cleaned up in 6 months.
Whatever amount of time it takes to get rid of the PFOA, Lingener says she guarantees it'll take much longer to get rid of the stigma stamped on the little village of Hoosick Falls.
Can't really do anything about it at this point, but people aren't going to want their kids living around them.
In Hoosick Falls, I'm Emily DeFeciani.
I was fearing for my life, yeah. That was the scariest thing ever.
With just 15 minutes until closing, Alex Peasley grabbed a bite to eat and was getting ready to leave when an intruder entered his store.
Out of nowhere, someone comes running in and they're like, "I'm robbing you," and I'm like thinking that it's a joke, like it might be my buddies. You never know.
At first, the 21-year-old says he fled to a back room.
I was like jerking like this, expecting to be shot in the back.
But Peasley says the gunman threatened his life if he didn't return to the front of the store and hand over cash from the register.
Then he's just like, "Give me the big bills," and makes me rip up the register. after, and then I had to give him all that money, and then off he goes.
The entire incident Saturday night was captured on several surveillance cameras inside the store.
I tried to keep as composed as possible, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to do that in that situation, but it was insane.
Throughout Sunday morning, customers trickled into the variety store to check in on Peasley.
Definitely, Slim, thank you.
And while he says he's grateful for his life, he admits the burglary is a hit to the business he just opened last June with his father. Peasley says the gunman got away with about $1,000.
Just starting, you don't have too much money, and now that we're developing a better customer base and stuff like that, now it was the perfect time to hit, you know?
It's just impossible, this below zero stuff.
It may be that time of year to feel all warm and fuzzy, but the temperature outside is anything but.
If it was 30 degrees outside, we wouldn't have to do this.
While most of us are just trying to keep ourselves warm,
Here we go.
florists are scrambling to keep their merchandise alive, especially on the busiest weekend of the year.
We are taking all our arrangements. We're wrapping them with double tissue paper. We're doing plastic bags. We're doing everything we can to make sure that these flowers, roses, stay absolutely warm.
At Central Florist, the cold is an inconvenience.
Thank you very much.
But a few miles away at Lark Street Flower Market, it's nearly devastating.
From this end down to the other end is frozen.
The store lost heat overnight and thousands of dollars worth of flowers.
You couldn't pull a bunch out of the buckets. They were frozen right into the water.
Still, owner Marianne Rapecki says she managed to salvage a good supply for all those last-minute shoppers.
I don't know if they forget or they're just procrastinators. I need, oh please, can you help me? Go from there. But Valentine's is on the same day every year.
And in the end, cold or not,
Erica? Yes. There you go. Happy Valentine's Day.
the reaction from Happy Valentine's can warm anyone.
And they're just like shocked. For me? Really? I got flowers? Really?
In Albany, Emily DeFeciani, Time Warner Cable News.
Gotta cover up the bald spot.
Waiting anxiously in front of his Niskayuna home, Fred Kloss wanted everything to be perfect.
Here he is.
Sir, how are
General.
you? It's a pleasure to meet you.
Sunday, the 93-year-old veteran shook hands with one of the highest-ranked generals in the United States Army.
Absolutely out of this world.
From Alabama to New York, 4-star General Dennis Vi traveled to bestow one of the highest honors upon Kloss right in his very own basement.
This was basically here when we came and I turned it into a man cave. Okay.
Complete with various awards, medals, and paraphernalia from throughout his 75 years of service. Kloss's man cave is visual testament as to why he was selected from hundreds of thousands to be inducted into the Army Materiel Command Hall of Fame.
You know, I'm not a college graduate. I can't come up with the words to express how proud I am to get this award.
Though General Vi says the privilege was all his.
Just to serve as the commanding general and play a small role in being able to recognize great individuals, great Americans, great patriots like Mr. Fred Kloss.
For a 93-year-old man to cry, that's a good example of what it meant to me.
Since the age of 18, Kloss has served the Waterville Arsenal in any way he can. He was originally supposed to be honored at a ceremony with other inductees in October, but was unable to travel due to his health. That's why General Vi journeyed to Kloss, and just in time. Monday, he undergoes open heart surgery.
I've had a knee replaced just a couple months ago. Got a new pacemaker. I'm going to be a new man when this is all over.
At 93, Kloss admits he's wary of the outcome, but he says whatever happens, he'll be proud of the life he's lived.
I will feel very satisfied that I've made a contribution to the defense of the country, okay? And that's all I need.
In Niskayuna, Emily DeFeciani, Time Warner Cable News.